our hope is in Christ, and our hope is based on not what is true with us in this present world, but in the world to come. I think I've mentioned this a number of times, but I want to remind you again of a truth that's very present with me all the time. A number of years ago, I think it was about 140, I was in undergraduate school, and in one of our social studies courses, one of our sociology courses actually, we were dealing with primitive cultures. And we went back and looked at a number of primitive cultures, Asia particularly, and in those cultures we found that there were some fundamental things that were true of all those cultures. And among them was the fact that every one had a concept of life after death. Everyone believed that there was something beyond our present life, that there was a life to come. And parallel to that, behavior and controlling their environment and having an effect upon them. I remember studied in South America that believed they were animalists. They believed that the gods and the evil spirits that they were very much afraid of lived in the animals of the forest. And they had a certain god that lived in the jaguar. They had another god that lived in the monkey. They had another god that lived in this animal and that, whatever it was. And so they had multiple gods, and they were fearful of all those gods. And in one tribe in particular, they had a way of appeasing those gods. They would go out into the forest, and they would take out of their meager food supply, they would take a small amount of food, they would place it in a given place on the side of a small trail, and they would hope that that god would come by, and upon getting that gift of food, that god would then be persuaded to deal with them kindly and to not bring further disaster upon them and their children. And so this belief system was prominent in the days of Paul when he was writing to the Thessalonians, because you have to remember that their background was basically Greek and Roman idolatry. Everything that they believed in terms of why they're here, what they're to accomplish, and what's going to occur with them and for them after they have finished this life and they go to the other side, they were concerned about how they were going to make it. And this multiplicity of gods was illustrated in a passage we looked at last week when we reminded ourselves of Paul's visit to Athens. And he came upon that place called Mars Hill, the Areopagus, and there was a huge hillside that was literally covered with monuments and statues and idols, all of which were to one god or another, a multiplicity of those gods. And so when Paul was there walking among them, he finally came to a monument that was dedicated to the unknown God. And that because these beliefs in these multiplicity of gods was that